Hello and welcome back to the Part-Time Otaku Podcast. My name is Grant.
My name is Dave.
Another week in My Hero Academia, the ongoing saga of Class A versus Class B. If this is the first time listening, this is an anime-only podcast. No manga spoilers, or no insight into the manga, at least. So Dave, another episode.
Yeah, pretty moist episode. Didn't really see it going the way it did, so it had that going for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of little unique things I think we'll get into for the episode. But before we get any further, we want to give a shout out to the Real Chrono Art on Instagram for the Red Riot fan art.
Killer awesome thumbnail.
Stuff. So friggin' cool.
That is like probably one of my, well, I mean, this isn't exactly a hot take, but that's probably one of my favorite moments for Red Riot is when he used that unbreakable, that ability or whatever you want to call it in like his own episode. That was a pretty cool moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's weird. It's crazy how, in the fan art, how close they can get to like the image.
Dude, yeah, this one looks like it's right out of the show. It's crazy.
Yeah, again, we say this every week, but it's unreal what people can do, and I'm sure I'll say it next week and every week going forward. But yeah, we'll get right into it. So this is just a quick little dirty synopsis we pulled off Crunchyroll. Separated from her team, Yao Yoruzo's leadership skills are put to the test in the second match of the class battles. So right off the top, Dave, what do you think of the episode?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is how you nailed Yao Yoruzo's name and pronunciation in one go just now. I think that's probably that's the craziest part for me. Anytime I have to like write her name down, I just call her Momo. I'm like,
it's Momo, yeah.
And I was that's why they gave her the name Momo, because nobody wants to say that shit.
When I was writing the notes, I was like, oh, thank God for her having like a simpler first name.
But as far as the episode goes, I thought this was pretty good. I think they did a good job with Class B's team, like not just how the episode goes, but just like trying to give these people that we're not super familiar with a good chunk of personality and giving them something to do with such a limited amount of time. You know what I mean? I think everyone relatively well on the Class A side of this fight.
Yeah.
So it feels like a lot of the like defining moments came from the Class B characters, and I thought
for sure
they did them right. They did them well.
I 100% agree. I will say, if I feel like my opinion has kind of changed a little bit from last week to this week a little bit. Like I said, I agree that they're getting their moments to shine, and they're giving them the time to, it's like you said, by the end of the episode, I feel like we know these characters, even though we've kind of just met them.
Yeah.
But by the end of this episode, and this isn't really jumping forward, it's kind of like bigger scope, because this is the stuff that's filling out for us as like we're going from like next group, as we're moving forward. I feel like this is just like they're showing us Class B, but all the focus, like the true progression, and like it's still Class A. If you know what I mean. Like it's like, yes, we get to meet. It feels like a fleeting moment we're getting with these Class B people. Like the effort is going into them.
We're like giving them a quick W before we're like, okay, come back next season.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like we're gonna have like these little moments with them, and like we're always gonna be able to look back to it. But I feel like by the end of the episode, it's all about Class 1A and how they're coming through like these challenges and all that. Like it's not a bad thing, but it feels like by the end of the episode, it's like, oh, that was cool at Class B, we'll see you later. And
yeah,
and we'll have like these moments with the individual characters from Class A going forward, and and it's kind of like it's not a mixed message. Like I'm not down on it. But do you know what I'm getting at? Maybe I don't know.
I don't think you're offline. I mean, I know what you mean. Like, it feels like we're kind of going through the motions, but like this kind of does, in a way, when you think of it that way, sort of serve as a bit of a springboard for a lot of the people from Class A.
Exactly.
You feel
it's perfect. It's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it feels like, win or lose these fights, these will probably be really big learning moments for everybody in Class A. I'm sure the same could be said for Class B. It's just like, how much of that story and development will we see? Because it feels like we'll probably just go back to focusing on Class A, after the tournament or after this whole thing.
it just feels like Class B is kind of like the catalyst to Class 1A's power progression.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know, I think like I said at the top, they do a good job with these characters. You know, they just have limited time and space for all these people. This freaking show is so ridiculous with the amount of characters it has.
I know.
And there's like a very specific one that just blew my head off in this episode that we'll get to. But yeah, I think the first thing I saw in your notes was really cool animation of the mushrooms covering the whole arena in the opener of the episode. That was really killer.
Yes.
Is that person's name Shroom, or did she just say Shroom?
I think she says Shroom. I know her name is Komori. I didn't catch her. It might just be Mushroom Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mushroom Lady.
Anyway, Mushroom Lady. But like you said, like the animation of it was spot on. Like and the attention to detail they put in all the colors and like the different, and like I said, it was such a nice touch of her kind of rhyming off the different types of mushrooms. Like, you know, she's like cultivating them and almost like she's speaking to them
as they like appear and as they like pan to all the different ones appearing everywhere. Yeah.
Honestly, probably the highlight of the episode for me was just this. It's so fleeting and it's so momentary, and it just goes to show, you know, like this is kind of like what we were just talking about. Like, they are giving the attention to Class B. Like, they're not just being used for the purpose of progressing Class A. Like, they are getting their moments, and they're in their times to shine. I just thought this was like, you don't see stuff like this very often, you know, like.
No, it felt like a big choice for them to devote time to that whole scene.
Because they could have done that and made that look they could have made it not look like that.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. I feel like they put emphasis on it, right?
Yeah, which was nice.
That could have been like a 2-second thing.
Absolutely. But yeah, so it's, if there's one thing I kind of just want to go back on, there's a lot of flip-flopping in this episode, do you find?
100%.
They never stay in one moment. There's like a handful of flashbacks. There's jumping around from one end of the arena to the other. This episode's kind of a mess. Like, it's not bad, but it is very, very messy.
I feel like what they were going for, and it sort of works, was like a bit of a twist and turn, like a push and pull kind of feel, where like from moment to moment you don't know who has the advantage or the upper hand.
Yeah.
Because like towards the last act of this episode, there's a lot of that.
Yes.
But in an effort to like sort of set that tone, it's just like you said, it's just kind of messy because they're flopping from POV to POV a lot. It's just kind of a weird one in terms of like how it's shot perspective wise, I think is what the weird thing was. And then like random flashbacks and shit that were like kind of lengthy. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with it. It's a little bit messy.
Well, it seems to be kind of like, you know, I don't say this badly. It's just like the kind of the crutch, because this was the case with last episode too with Tokoyami, like the stuff with Hawks.
That felt like it had more value than this one.
For them, yeah, absolutely. Like there was definitely some more value, and you know I think that was kind of setting up a whole other thing. But like it seems to be like they're going back to the well on this. You know, they're relying on, do you remember this moment 4 seasons ago where, you know, that kind of sets up your mood for now, and now we're going to move past that point in your character arc. So they're just pulling, and I feel like they even did it too in the Froppy team fight too. They were pulling back on older flashbacks, you know, to kind of move them forward.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot they did that.
So and this is kind of like where I was going, where like, you know, going forward, they're clearly setting up, they're giving the shine to the Class A characters that we don't see very often. And there's just lots of moments through this episode where, like, you know, they go back to, you know, Tomoyaki, and, you know, Momo has some big moments, but it's such a weird, like, I like the episode. It's so weird and messy, and it's actually surprising that it lands, you know?
Yeah, considering everything going on. Class B definitely seems more prepared. And I feel like a big part of being number one, like Class A is in a lot of instances, is like everyone knows who you are.
Yeah.
So like they were just a lot more prepared for what Class A could bring to the table, and it felt like they singled out Momo from the start. And obviously like the whole idea like that Plan A was to take advantage of Dark Shadow, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they had very specific targeted attacks from the jump. So
well, and that's kind of like the nice unique thing about this match is there's members from both teams that have direct, competition with the other person. Like they set up, Tomoyaki and Kiryu, and then Kendo and Momo. So it's I think maybe it'll be kind of specific to this episode, but you can tell like they were focusing in on their counterparts right from the get-go, because it was like that last episode, and it was exactly like that this episode, even though there was two different plans. But Kendo, like, it's actually kind of a bummer that she's not in class 1A.
Yeah, I kind of like her.
Yeah, she's a really good character.
You mentioned it a while back. What season was that in, where they're in the forest and the League of Villains shows up and she's a part of helping them out?
Is that 3?
Somewhere in there.
It's either 2 or 3.
Yeah, and Midoriya fights like that muscle man guy.
Yes. Yeah.
God, that was a great arc.
That was great.
But yeah, definitely a strong leader. She's competing very directly with Momo. So what I was saying earlier about like the absurdity of how many characters are in this show, and not in a bad way, but also how creative they get to be / have to be with quirks. Like you get some quirks that are so straightforward, like Midoriya's, and then like you were saying last time, some that are so interesting, like Bakugo with nitroglycerin sweat, and then like Comic Man Fukudashi. Like,
that was
what?
I could not, like, I think I get it, but I could not wrap my head around how that works.
I get it. I think it's hilarious.
It's awesome.
Like, who, like, these people have to be on shrooms, like, while they're storyboarding or, like, coming up with ideas for quirks, because there are so many.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire, like, 5 seasons in, we have to have seen over 100 at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, there's just so many. And then, like, to have one come out of left field like this, I was like, wait, what?
Because, and that was the thing, too. I remember the, I think it would have been when this arc kicked off and they did that, like, that in, like, 30 seconds, they hit all of Class B, introducing them. And when they showed this guy, I, like, laughed out loud, and I was like... like this is the excitement out of this arc, is we get to see this other class, and we get to see this, like, we had Naval Laser, we had Can't Stop Twinkling, we had like all these unique funny little, like, even Minata, like kind of like the tertiary, like the unique quirks that I find they tend to have the unique quirks, and there's obviously going to be that. And like I saw this guy, I was like, I cannot wait to see what this dude gets up to, and he just like talks and creates a wall. Like I could not believe that.
Yeah, man, whatever. More power to you. Like, it was effective. It was just like, I think I just sat up and I was like, really? Like, not in a bad way. I was just like, all right. Like, that's like the thing about this show is like, you can just sort of do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, they have a mechanic that allows them to change any story at any time by inventing quirks. And that's not like a bad thing, because it's like one of the foundations that the whole show is built on. It just, every now and then they hit you like this, and they just sort of totally take you by surprise.
Yeah.
Kendo engages with Momo, right? And she's just bashing her shield in.
Yeah.
Did you think Momo was taking an L here in that moment?
No, because they kind of... This is the problem with flashbacks. They have a flashback moment of her recalling the sports festival, and it's that fight between Tokoyami and Momo, and like she lost that fight is because she just didn't move. Like she was just trying to hold her way down, and then I think the fight ended. She didn't realize she was out of the lines. Yeah, just because Dark Shadow kept pushing her out inch by inch kind of thing, and they showed that, and then Kendo has the line of all I have to do is stay on her, and I was like, well. Okay.
Now we know that's not going to happen.
That is exactly, and I was kind of like, like it's, and this is what I'm saying. Yeah,
you probably didn't need the flashback immediately before going to that scene.
Exactly,
like it didn't have to be so heavy-handed. But yeah,
and that's what it kind of took the air out of the scene, because I was like, oh shit, like here we go, like this is Kendo versus Momo, and they set this up last episode that like they kind of have that like that not beef, but they're rivals. And I was that was the fight I was kind of looking forward to see them go toe to toe, because we also haven't seen, like, Momo is actually around a lot. She's been in quite a few conflicts, but like to see her development, I wanted to see where she was going with her quirk. Yeah. and we go there, but it
We
wasn't
got
really
pieces
much.
of it. Yeah.
It wasn't a showdown. It's again, I know, like, it's not Midoriya and Shinsho or Midoriya and Bakugo or but
Yeah.
it was kind of like, oh, this is gonna be juicy.
And then they also did one anime thing that I hate. Because we get enough of this from episode break to next episode, but they did that thing where they, like, there's the reveal of, like, her shields are getting all banged up, but it turns out she's stalling to pull out a cannon.
Yeah.
But then it goes to the quote commercial break, and we don't have commercials, so it comes right back. And they, like, go to another scene, and then when they come back, they show you the same thing again. Like, they replay the same line and the same animation.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of that this episode.
I don't like that. I mean,
no, and
whatever.
We kind of blew over it, but they, at the beginning of the episode, they burned 3 minutes in recaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then plus, like, with like the OP, so there's a lot of stalling.
Yeah, maybe this is, like, the price they're paying for, like, this slick animation they give us every now and again.
That could be it. Yeah,
because, like, I think every episode, including this one so far, has had something like a slick, not straight 20 minutes, but, like, a good interaction that is, like, just above what they usually do, and what they usually do is usually at a pretty high level anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
It could be, but yeah, no, I feel like, to the original question, they definitely took a lot of the wind out of the sails with that flashback, and then like I said, it goes to something cool, but it's like, now we know,
Yeah.
like it's. But,
do you think? Did you like the move of, like, the cannon shot a loot bag instead of, like, just trying to take out Kendo?
Absolutely, and that was the thing too. Like, she creates the cannon, and there's there's no way she's gonna, like, just shoot a cannonball at her. So like, there's definitely there's something here, because she's very passive. She's not.
Man, that'd be crazy though if she just decapitated her.
Yeah, like, blew her, like that's left his knee, like, the knees down. But
it's like Demon Slayer art. There's blood everywhere.
But it was. But the loot. I loved the loot bag. And they put so much, like, tender love and care into the reveal of the loot bag, and that's why I love this episode. Like, it's by no means the best one yet. If anything, it's probably the weakest one of the season. But it has, like, the My Hero charm and heart to it. Like, there's so many moments littered out, and just the reveal of the bag, and even, like, Tokoyami, it's like, he's like, oh, like, what is it, like,
dude?
Just,
He has that voice too.
Yeah, it's no, I loved it. It's, like I said, it's little stuff like that, but no, it was really cool. What about you? You liked it, or?
Yeah, I liked it for the fact that it was a misdirect. Like, I was like, what? Because, like, I think they flash back when the cannon is revealed, and they're like, well, she can't hit her with that. So it's like, yeah, so what's she gonna do?
And it's funny, because when it cuts back to everyone watching, it's only Class B people that are like, or no, I think even Minata too is like, a cannon? Like, also, I really thought they were going to go with a pervy joke, because they cut to Minata being like a cannon.
Oh, right.
I was like, oh, and they completely went past it, and I was like, good for you guys. Like,
yeah,
this
like,
low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, just, like, every now and again, let one just fly by.
Yeah.
And everyone will appreciate you for not taking every single opportunity.
But also, before we go further, Naval Laser cannot catch a break. This episode,
dude, the voice actor for that guy is so goddamn funny.
It's still hilarious. It's still hilarious. Like, it was basically reused from last episode, but it was
the same exact thing, same gag. Yeah. But, like, I just picture, like, this voice actor just running from a microphone going, like, to try and get that perfect effect. It makes it sound like as he's being pulled further and further away. And it's only just one yell, like, but it's funny every single time.
Yeah.
I was down with it.
Yeah. So we go forward, like, it kind of cuts back to
Tokiyami?
No, well, before that, it goes to Kiryu and Komori, and like, he kind of pops up, and this is what I want to talk to you about. Did they straight up change voice actors for this guy in the second half of this episode?
He sounded, I don't know, so I couldn't tell. It was weird though. Like, he was either not consistent,
yeah,
or they completely changed him. I don't know what that was.
My thought was maybe he was trying to be, dark when he was talking to Tokoyami and the others. He was putting on like
a bit of a ruse.
Like a ruse. Then he was like talking to, Komori, and it was like a completely different register. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I thought it was just a moment. Then like he talks a few more times through the episode, and I'm like, oh, his voice is different. Like it's very strange.
Because he does sort of hint about like he was trying to mislead Class A from the beginning.
True.
Maybe like he was literally putting on a performance. I don't know, but yeah, that was weird. I did notice it.
Well, you know what? As we're talking about it, the theme of this team battles is you're considering the other team the villains, and it's your choice to play as the villain or play as the hero. I think they say that at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he was trying to like put on like a villain persona to really sell that, the mind games they were playing. So, maybe it could be the same guy, and that's actually how the character talks.
What do you think about Black Abyss Sabbath?
That was gnarly. Did we see that before?
No, well, maybe we can ask the subreddit and they'll light me up, but I don't think so. I appreciate the hell out of it.
Because that's when I've seen that character. I was like, there's got to be some point where that thing just envelops him, and he's just going like on like a rampage attack. And there's a really funny moment. He has a line of dialogue as he's like swooping in on them, and I always forget they're all teenagers. And he has the edgiest line of, when I look into the abyss, it looks right back at me. And I was like, they're kids. They say stupid shit.
I was like, dude, this is like a caption right out of my MySpace photos. Like,
oh, fuck.
That was, that was like, that would be like a MSN bio.
Yeah. Oh my God, song lyrics.
Yeah. I was fine with it, though. I was like, yeah,
it just made me laugh.
Go get some.
That's his character too. It's so him.
I hope he shows up with painted black nails.
Oh my God.
I hope he does shit like that, and the show never mentions it. You know what I mean? Like, you just sort of let it happen, and like you just let the bit hang in the air, and you try not to bring attention to it.
It would be really cool if like we, maybe by like, because again, we don't know how long, like, with the manga, like how, what kind of time span we have, but it would be cool if we get a scene in the anime at some point in the next few years of them like 10 years or 15 years ahead of like their new modern costumes, and just see Tokoyami and like, full black, or, like black nails and the whole nine, just pulling off the goth superhero look.
I'd be down.
I love it.
So he showed. Oh right, we didn't. So like in the bag from Momo, there's like, what are the two things? There's the goggles and ethanol, right?
Yeah.
What's the ethanol for again?
I think it's to kill the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Is it gasoline? I don't know. It's a spray. But
it's a spray. But the goggles seem clutch, because then he just goes for it with the Black Sabbath, Black Abyss going hunting. Sabbath.
I wonder if he keeps those goggles.
I hope so.
I wonder if that becomes like a part of his
support, like a clutch support item. Yeah.
Well, because that's a weird thing too. Because was Momo supposed to be in the support class at one point?
I have no idea, but that would make a ton of sense, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe she'll like move to it. I don't know. But the moment you like realize what a threat he is, because the moment he's able to locate them, he has them dusted within seconds.
Yeah.
And I thought that clutch play was gonna be like, okay, here's another clutch win.
They really set it up that way. I think intentionally.
Of course.
But it was very believing in the moment. I was like, oh shit, wow, that was okay. Well, yeah, because they're not fighting heroes. They're passive heroes. Or they're not combat heavy. So it would make sense that if he locked in on them, that they wouldn't stand much of a chance. Also, the way he captured Kiryu was really, really, really that made a lot of sense.
Put him in the cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tiny shadow to just sort of keep him trapped there. I like that. But then the twist. This bitch poisons him and nobody's stressed.
That was the craziest thing in the episode. I remember it was so hypocritical. Like everyone was not everyone, like no one was losing their shit over the cannon, but no one batted an eye on him choking on toxic mushrooms in his throat or his lungs.
Mushroom Girl's like, he's got 30 seconds to live. She gets all dark. But no, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't see that coming. I just didn't see that shit coming.
No.
And then Kendo shows up. Oh, we did we mention Invisigirl though?
Oh, sure, yeah, we totally blew past
So
that.
as Tokiyami gets the goggles and zooms in on the other two, Invisigirl's having a good moment up against the comic book generating
Comic
man guy. She's just beating his ass. I was hoping,
but hardly though. That's the thing.
yeah, I was like, I think you said last week, like she's kind of due for something new.
Yeah,
Wasn't today, I guess.
wasn't the moment. I really hope we don't. I hope if this isn't the last we kind of hear from her for the next little while.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but so yeah, as Tokiyami goes down because of the mushroom in his lungs or whatever, Kendo shows up, dragging
Yeah,
Momo. I was like, oh.
that was really cool the way they drew all that, and it just goes to show the show has moments where it was such complex animation, like all the ropes and even Momo's like creation effect was kind of in the cannon and the two bodies like melded together in the hand. Like whoever drew that was having a field day. Like it was
Yeah, that
really
was super
cool.
killer. And it shows that like Momo didn't go down without a fight,
No.
and she came very close to making a clutch play and winning them the whole match right there.
Absolutely.
So a valiant effort, but Kendo literally muscles through it, and then she subdues Invisigirl.
Mm-hmm.
And is that basically, yeah, that's basically the loss, right? Or that's basically Class B's win because they've got Momo knocked out.
They already had naval laser in the cage.
Naval laser, yeah, he got thrown in the cage earlier, and then Tokiyami goes down with the mushroom, and Kendo grabs Invisigirl. Good twist.
Good twist, and it was like I I kind of mentioned to you prior, like they're making. This is what we were worried about, and this episode proves that that's just not the case. Like Class 1A is not just going to blow through everyone.
Yeah.
It's
not just going to goose them.
Exactly. Like there's going to be effort on their sides. Like, but now I'm worried is it going to be like a 1-1-1-1, and then obviously it's going to get down to the end of like, but it's a point system too, right? It's not exactly who wins the fight in general.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now, I guess it would be 5-5 to 4. I don't know. Anyways, so like it's just like the way that the point system works, but it did feel a little last minute. If I had one gripe with the episode, it was a clutch win, but I guess that's what happens, right? Like when you're at the the last hour of the conflict, someone's got to win, but it did just kind of feel like all last minute. It was all trump card stuff, Like
yeah. You've activated my trap card. No, you've activated my trap card.
It was just back and forth. It was like zigzagging back and forth. And this is like, again, kind of like the messiness of the episode. The actual conflict stuff outside of that, that was where like the good stuff of the episode is. Like kind of some of the character development and the communications and all. The actual fighting itself and the one-upsmanship was kind of like where I found it the most inconsistent.
But altogether, pretty good. I guess the series is 1-1 now, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't even bothered watching the stingers because, like we've said, like they kind of just tend to give a little bit too much away. So I don't know what classes are up next at this point.
No, I don't.
Or what
which
groups.
Is nice.
Yeah,
exactly. Which is I think is going to be. I think is what we need now, because now everything going forward is going to be fresh for us.
Yeah.
So agreed. As we see it, it's going to be new to the moment. All our thoughts will be racing through our heads as we see it, kind of thing. But so I guess and that's the weird thing too. Like, it's crazy how 1 week 20 minutes feels like they fit so much in, and then 1 week it feels like there's not as much.
Yeah, you're right about that. This was like I felt the 20 minutes in this one, like they did cover quite a bit. Yeah. And then in other episodes, it's like, God, where did that go? I mean, maybe just how engaged you are. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was a good episode. I like at the end they kept up that biased commentary bit.
Yeah, it's still hilarious.
It's funny basically every time.
But there's also a really cool moment, like because they have like the teachers are all watching and all that, and I think it starts with All Might kind of, it's just like he's just so impressed and so proud of like everyone, like all these heroes. And then it kind of cuts back and forth between him and Midoriya. Mm-hmm. And they both have such similar dialogues. It just goes to show, like, there's a reason these two have One for All.
Yeah.
And they keep doing this every week with Midoriya. They keep cutting to him. Obviously, he's the main character. Mm-hmm. I think it's safe to say that. Like, it's about everyone, but
but it's his story.
It's his story, and they cut to him every time, and they're really showing how human he is. Because this thing too, he didn't have a quirk his whole life, right? And it still shows that way. Like, he's just so in awe of the others, and it's just such a feel. And I think that's what makes this show, like, even when there's faults in the episode, there's still so much heart in this show, and Midoriya is the heart of the show. Like,
he's very,
in so many ways,
based off what he's been through. He's so grounded. You know what I mean? It's the whole journey is kind of Midoriya's, and it seems like in a lot of these episodes, it's almost sort of through his perspective a lot of the time, because it's sort of like we said, it's his story. You know what I mean? Like, the pilot of the episode or of the whole show is about how he becomes the number one hero or something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's been very fun to be on that ride. I'm excited to see more of him.
Yes, like, I will say, I'm really enjoying like the team battle arc. But I think, because like I think the assumption is this is going to be a 2-part season again, which I think is just going to be the flavor for all big animes going forward, which kind of sucks. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I am actually looking forward to a more concrete story again. Like we're now like 2 out of 5 battles away, till this is all wrapped up, and it's not. I'm already starting to feel a little bit of fatigue of like the format of, one episode, set it up, do some talking, set up the next fight, start the fight, and then the following episode is like, the in total of the fight. Like, I hope the next one isn't by the numbers like the past 2 have. You know what I mean? Like, the first one, it was the first one, so like it kind of set the tone, but it feels like it's been kind of repeated.
I'm not sure how the pace is really going to go. You never know. They may surprise us. It'd be really fun is if, like, I don't know, like the League of Villains interrupts all this or something, and like throws kind of a monkey wrench into the whole thing.
You think so?
No, I don't think I don't think they'll do that at all. But like, it would be good to break this up right now, because it feels like you can kind of sort of see the rest of the season coming. But I guess we'll have to see what they do. Yeah. But it's been fun either way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that probably wraps it up for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. Please, like, comment, subscribe, support the podcast in whatever way you like. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And if you enjoyed this, definitely check out the post show. Grant and I have been recording that every day after we wrap these episodes. Episodes of the post show usually come out a day or 2 after these. And we're not really covering any anime in particular. It's just sort of everything going on in that industry, entertainment. Like today, I think we'll talk about some MCU news, the anime Invincible.
I will say this week, there's going to be some anime talk, Dave.
Oh, yeah. No, but I just mean,
I think there's going to be more than we have so far on the post shows. I think we both got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about Invincible and Jujutsu Kaisen and Yasuke and all that shit. Bunch of really cool stuff. So check that out if you are so inclined, and if not, that's okay. We will see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Later, guys.
Later.